Hi everyone, so today on Honeysuckle and Clover I am super excited because we are going to be planting our seedlings today. We're going to show you a couple different ways that you can do this. You can use an old milk jug. You're just going to cut 3/4 of the way around so that right here by the handle is still left because we're going to tape this shut at a later time. And then you can also use an old egg carton like this and put your soil in it. And then lastly, we have one of these seedling trays that you can pick up at your local garden center or at stores like Walmart or maybe even Target in your area if it has a garden center. And then what we're going to do is use our soil mix. What you want to get is a specific seed starter mix, because this has more air in the soil, which will help the seedlings get a start in the ground. If it's really compacted, they're going to have a much harder time growing. And this seedling mix, or this seed starter mix, was about $5 I think at Walmart. There are several different brands. We don't have a preference for which one you use, so as long as it's a seed starter mix, you can pick that up. Then what you're going to do is pour your mix into a bucket or like an old ice cream bucket, whatever you have, and you're going to add a little bit of water to it so that it's just going to dampen the soil just enough. You don't want it to be completely drenched. What we want to do is create a firm base for the seeds so that when we water them later on, they're not going to shift around in the soil and move to different depths or get completely flooded, which would not allow them to grow very well. So alright, I'm back. I just went over to the faucet and added some water here. What you're going to do is add enough water so that it's kind of clumping, but it's not super dry and it's not super wet, like water's not coming out when you try to squeeze it into a ball. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to fill these little holes up here for the seedlings. And then when you get everything in these little seed trays, you just want to tap it down just a tiny bit, not a whole lot. Again, you don't want to compress the soil. That will make it harder for the seedlings to try to grow. And then one of the things that you need to do is you need to look up and see which seeds you can actually start it as seedlings and which ones need to be planted in the garden itself. Some seeds have, when they're growing, they have very shallow root structures that are really sensitive, so they can't be started as seedlings at home because they're just so fragile and delicate that if you try to transplant them from your little seedling starter space into the garden, they're actually going to probably not grow and they're probably going to die because they're just too delicate and fragile. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple different seeds. We're going to do rosemary, basil, tomatoes, and oregano. And some of these we bought in bigger packs. It makes it a little bit cheaper. There's a little bit of a price break when you buy these things like a culinary herb garden set. And you can get whatever seeds you like. We just happen to have a bunch of burpee. I'll show you some other seed brands that we've been using as well later on. Alright, so I'm just going to show you the seed packet and what the back of it looks like here. It will tell you things like how much sun it needs and also the depth here. It says sow seeds 1/4 inch deep into individual containers filled with seed starting formula, keep moist. So, and then the seeds will pop up in 7 to 10 days. The other thing you want to note on here is that it says in a warm, well-lighted area 6 to 8 weeks before planting outdoors. Alright, so now for the tomatoes, what I'm going to do is just open the packet and pour out a few seeds. I have quite a few here actually, so I'm going to put some back into the packet. These are fairly tiny, so it's just really easy to grab a lot when you don't mean to. And then for the case of this little milk jug, I'm going to just sprinkle these into the milk jug a little bit. Make sure that they're kind of spread throughout here and not too close together. And then you can always go after and make more space if you need to. All right, so we have that one done. All right, and next we are actually going to put the seedlings into our other tray here, the seedling tray. And for this one, we are going to do the basil. We've marked it here. You just want to mark somehow what you're planting, because that way you'll better know how to like adjust the sunlight that they need, or rotate them, or put them in a cooler area or a warmer area. You can just rotate them at your windows using, depending what window you want them to be at. East or west window will be more moderate sun, and then a south facing window would be strong, heavy sunlight, and that would be good for plants that require full sun. All right, and then for the milk jug plantings that you can do, you can just use a marker and just write down what you've planted in there so that you know for future reference for when you do the watering and sunlight adjusting. Okay, so now we are going to plant our sweet basil. So again, we're just going to dump out the seeds. Wow, these are very tiny. And then we're just going to poke a hole with a pencil. These should be sown at about 1/4 inch depth. So we're just going to use a pencil just to poke little holes here. Okay, so now we are going to plant some basil in the little starter seed kit here. And I'm just going to take, these are very small, so I'm just going to take and drop just a couple into the little space that I made. All right, and then for this, we are going to do our rosemary, and we're going to plant this one in the little egg carton. So again, same thing where you're going to just poke a little hole. You can use a pencil or you can use your finger too, just to get a little bit of space there. And then same thing where we're going to just take the seeds and we're just going to drop a couple in each space. All right, yesterday I realized I forgot to mention that you need to get a little mister like this to spray your seedlings, and then you just gently spray them like this. And then on the seed packets, you'll be able to see if it needs to be very moist soil or if they can dry a little bit more in between misting them. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe below.